Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to our literacy lesson. The last 2 days of last week, you would have been looking at Percy the Park Keeper and having a think about things you would like to change in your story. So this week, we're going to be writing 5 sentences or more of our new story, innovating parts of that story. So here's just a bit of a recap of what you might have thought about last week. So it says, what will be the name of the main character in your story and what type of person will they be? So you might have chosen Percy to be a girl or a younger boy, or you might have chosen him to be a superhero, whatever character you changed him to, and have a think about what person he will be, because Percy was described as a very kind man. So there might be some other words we could use to describe your character. So here's some examples. Kind, like it was in the original story. Your person could still be kind if you want them to be. Joyful, caring, looking after people, happy, and helpful. You can see those girls cleaning there. So there's lots of different things and lots of different types of people your person could be. So that all depends on what you want your character to be like, okay? So that's entirely up to you. You should have looked at that last week. We've also had to think about what the weather will be like and think about how your character and what your character would see, hear and feel. So what would the weather be like? Did we keep the weather the same? Did we keep it as dazzling and pouring rain and booming thunder, or did you change your weather? So okay, if you kept it the same, that's absolutely fine. And what do you think your character would see, hear and feel? These are all the things we would have thought about in the classroom before innovating our story. And we will be thinking about what damage was caused by the storm. So in the story, the great big oak tree had fallen over, hadn't it? And that was a disaster for them all, especially those animals that lived there. So what damage could be caused in your story? So you can change it. It could be the tree, like it is in the story, or it could be the house, the building, or a shed could have been damaged or destroyed, or a fence could have broken down, or some plants in plant pots around Percy's home might have been destroyed. So that was another thing that last week you could have thought about changing in your story. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at our class innovation. So this, if we were in the classroom, this would have been our class innovation. It would have been what we would have done in the classroom, how we'd have changed it in the classroom as an example before you changed yours. So I'll just go through a couple of the things that I've changed. So my Percy the Park Keeper is no longer a man or a boy, it is a girl, and that girl is called Pippa, and we can see her at the beginning. And I changed Pippa, instead of being kind, I've changed her to being a helpful person, okay? And she doesn't look after a park, she looks after a zoo and all the animals that live there. And I've kept the weather the same for us, but as you can see a little bit further down, the wind blew and it wasn't the great oak tree that fell down. What can you see there? Well done, it's the fence that broke down, okay? So that's how I've changed mine. So this is the opening of our story, and in your work pack you've got your own story map to fill in. But this is the opening of the story. I'm going to go through it with you and then we'll have a look at a simple sentence that you can write underneath. So follow along with me. Pippa was a helpful girl. She loved looking after the zoo and all the animals who lived there. But one night she couldn't sleep because a great storm was raging. Pouring rain, dazzling lightning and booming thunder was attacking her beloved zoo. The wind blew the fence down. She didn't like it. She didn't like it one bit. Super, so that would be our class innovation. That's what I've changed it to. And if you like my characters and you like what I've done with my story, you could just choose to use mine. That's absolutely fine. But if you want to change it to your own characters, then that's also fine. So here's a sentence that I've put together. Nice simple one. We don't have to write the full opening, just need to pick a sentence out of it, okay? So I've gone for the very beginning of the opening and I've put all the new words, all the innovated words in red to help you, because then if you want to use this sentence as yours, you can just change those red words, okay? So I'm going to read it through. Pippa was a helpful girl. She loved looking after the zoo and the animals. I'll read it again. Pippa was a helpful girl. She loved looking after the zoo and the animals. That is just an example of a sentence that I would like you to write. If that's a little bit tricky, some of you might have cut up sentences and you will just have a simple sentence at the top. Pippa was a helpful girl. Okay, just those 5 words. Pippa was a helpful girl. And you can change the name Pippa if you want to change her name. You could change her from being helpful to maybe caring or something like that. That's absolutely fine. If you think that sentence is too easy, I want to write more, then super, that's also fine. As long as you are writing 1 or more sentences, I am super happy with that, okay? One thing we need to remember when we do our writing, don't forget our capital letters, and our capital letters come at the beginning of a sentence and after every full stop, okay? Our finger spaces, let's not forget our finger spaces. Full stops at the end of every sentence, not after every word. Beautiful handwriting. Look at that person there holding their pencil with the correct pencil grip, holding it correctly, ready for their writing, and their writing's going to be beautiful just like yours is. So if you're holding your pencil correctly, it makes it easier, and I want your neatest handwriting, please, as we would expect in the classroom. And of course, make sure you read your sentences back. Sometimes we get very excited, we write our sentence as quickly as we can, and then we look back at it and we think, oh, we've left a word out, or I need to rub this out, I've forgotten my finger space here. So it's very important after you've written your sentence, read it back, see if it makes sense to you, because if it doesn't make sense to you and you've written it, it definitely won't make sense to us teachers, okay? So make sure you're reading it, get your adult to read it, and just check that everything is in the right place, okay? So now in your workpack, you will either have something that looks like this on the left where you'll fill in your story map and write the opening of your story, or you might have a cut up sentence and you will stick those words in the correct order in those boxes, copy it down underneath and draw a picture. Okay, so find which one you've got in your workpack and enjoy writing your opening of your innovation. Well done, boys and girls. See you soon.